Hi Stampers, it's Nancy from StampinShout.com. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm sharing a couple of cards that I made using the Penguin Place stamp set. This is a returning stamp set. It was in last year's mini holiday catalog and they brought it back this year. It's so popular and it's so much fun to use, and it really makes some cute cards. Makes birthday cards and seasonal cards, so it's not just Christmas. I want to show you where I got my inspiration. Let me find it here. So I pulled out my stamping catalog from last year, and I got the inspiration from these cards right here. So I just wanted to point that out. Sometimes if you can't think of a card and what to do, definitely go through that catalog and look and see what they did. And you can copy it exactly, or you can change it up a little bit like I did on this one. So let's get started. So this stamp set comes with a coordinating punch, and we're going to make this card first, and I'm going to show you how you can punch the penguin, and we're going to make a snowman with a hat out of that punch. So what you're going to need for this card is a piece of real red, and it's 8.5 by 5.5, and I scored it at 4 1/4. Then I have a piece of whisper white for the inside that's 5 1/4 by 4. And then for the front, I have a piece of white that is 5 1/4 by 4, and a piece of green that's 5 1/4 by 4. Now this one here, actually, I cut it just a little bit tinier because it's going to fit right behind here. So I didn't want it to show. So it's just like 1/8 of an inch smaller. And don't worry about the sizes and the colors that I used and the supplies I used. You can go back to my blog, StampinShout.com, and I will have more pictures of these cards. I will have the supplies I use, the sizes. You can order supplies there. You can do all that there. So if I miss telling you something, go to my blog and you can see it there. So this one I've already embossed, and I embossed it with the Whimsical Woodland embossing folder. So I'm going to use this on both cards. So since this card is the horizontal card, when I put it in my embossing folder, I wanted to make sure that the card was facing that way. The next card that we're making, it's actually going to be put that way, but we'll talk about that when we get to that card. So this one I already ran through the folder. This one I'm also going to run through the folder, but it's really important for this part here. This is a little tip. We're going to cut out our rectangles first, and I wanted to show you that, so I didn't have it done ahead of time. After we cut out the rectangles, then we're going to run it through the embossing folder. If I were to do it the other way around, this cardstock would be a little bit weaker for when I want to cut these things out. So that's why I'm doing it in this order. So the first thing I did was I laid down the center rectangle. These are the stitched rectangles. So it's mine's a little bit of a mess here, but these are the stitched rectangles. And the ones I used were 1.5 by 2 3/4 and 1 1/4 by 3 1/4. But again, I'll have that on my blog. So the first thing I did was I laid the center one down right in the middle. And then this one we're going to use twice. We're going to use it on this side and this side. And then I took a little bit of washi tape, and I'm going to show you a trick with that in a second. We'll cut the next one out. But I'm going to go ahead and run this through my cutting machine. So I will be right back. Okay, I've got that done. So now I'm just going to go ahead and pop out that piece, which we do not need. And when I put this washi tape on, as you can see, I put it more on the center piece that's going to be pulled away, more so than on the cardstock that's going to be showing, just in case when you pull that washi tape away, it sticks a little bit too much. We don't want it tearing that cardstock. But I'm going to show you a trick for that washi tape as soon as I get this rectangle off. Put that in my little carrier case. Okay, so the washi tape. Now on this one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to line it up at the top of that rectangle. So it's going to be up here. So I'm going to put the washi tape on there again. And I'm putting the washi tape on just because I don't want these rectangles to move too much when I go and I put it through my cutting machine. So I'm going to take some of this washi tape, just a little bit. And then I'm actually going to put it on my shirt there a couple times, and that's to get some of that sticky off, because I don't need it that sticky. So I'm going to go ahead and line this one up. And again, I'm lining it up to the top of that middle rectangle. And then I'm just going to lay my washi tape down. And I'm going to cut that out. So now we have our 3 rectangles. And now I'm going to take my embossing folder. Again, it's the Whimsical Woodland embossing folder. It's got all these cute little trees on there. And I'm going to go ahead and put it in here the correct direction. So it's going this way for all my trees. And I'm just going to run that through my machine and put that pretty texture on there. Just like that. And I know you probably can't see it that well, but it is gorgeous. So we can start with the easy stuff. And I'm going to go ahead and glue those 2 pieces together so it's all done. And then we're going to do some stamping. So I'm just going to put some glue all around the edge of this piece and on those center pieces. And I'm going to lay it down on that white piece. Then I'm going to go ahead and attach this to the front. That can all be done ahead of time. Okay, so that's the fundamental part about the front of our card. Now we're going to bring in some scraps that we need. And we need some white, and we need a little bit of black. And for the penguin's feet, on this one I'm going to punch them out. Let me show you that punch. The punch does have the little foot that you can punch out. So basically, you can choose. You could use pumpkin pie, you could use Cajun craze. And I'm just going to punch out 2 little feet. Let me show you something else on the stamp set. The stamp set does have the little foot that you can actually stamp and also punch it out that way. Just gives you a little bit of a white outline if you do it that way. So let me just put those little off to the side. Okay, so penguin. First thing I'm going to do, I'll take this little scrap. So it has the punch has two pieces of the penguin. The black is the outside, and then the white would be the smaller piece for the inside. So I'm just going to punch out a penguin in the black. And then I'm going to bring the white in. And I'm going to punch the smaller piece. So that's going to be our penguin. Then I'm going to take another part of the white. Let me go over here so I don't waste too much paper. And I'm just going to cut the bigger punch out in white, and that's going to be our snowman, just like that. So there's our snowman. Let me put these pieces here so you can see them. Now for the snowman's hat, let me bring this little scrap back in. And what I'm going to do for the hat is the bottom of the penguin is going to make his hat. So I'll just use this little piece of scrap, and I'm looking at this part right here, and I'm just going to put the paper in maybe a ½ an inch or so. You can see it's lined up like that, and that is going to be his hat. So I'm going to give that a punch, and that piece right there is going to be the snowman's hat. So now we're going to do a little bit of stamping. Well, I'll leave these here so you can see them. So this is the card we're making, so we're going to need to stamp a bow, a hat, a red scarf, a green scarf, and 4 Christmas trees. So let's go ahead and bring in Garden Green and the Christmas tree stamp. Let me find it. Oh, here it is. I had it in my my scrubby box. Okay, so we're going to stamp 3 green trees. And we're going to stamp a green scarf. I'm going to clean that off. Here's where my stamps were hiding in here. So I'm going to clean that off. I also have my little bow tie in here. Now we're going to bring in the real red. And I'm going to stamp a red bow that's going to go on his hat. And a red scarf. And we have one more. We have to stamp a red hat. Just like this. Okay, so now these items have to be fussy cut. And I have it all done, but I do want to talk a little bit about fussy cutting in case somebody's out there and is not sure what that is. So fussy cutting is when we take our little paper snips and we cut each one of these out. And all I want to say about fussy cutting is you want to use the deep part of the scissors, and you basically turn the paper instead of your scissors as much as possible, and you're always using that deeper part of the scissors, and you're trimming it. And when you trim it, you do want to have a little bit of a white border. There's no need to cut it right down to the color ink. Leave a little bit of that white border and it looks really pretty on the card. It looks really nice. And I'm just going to cut that little triangle out here. So I want to cut one more out with you guys. I want to cut the tree out just to show you. We'll just do the beginning of the tree. That you don't have to be exact when you're cutting these out. You're going to leave that little bit of a border. And when you place it on your card, you're going to have it on a white border. Let me just cut this away. So it's going to be fine. You don't really have to be perfect about it. So again, I'm just moving that paper more than my scissors. So we're going to cut all of those out, which I already have done. And we'll bring those back in a minute. We're going to do a little bit more stamping right now. So we're going to bring this little penguin in. And before I glue him, I'm going to go ahead and stamp his eyes and his beak. So I'm going to stamp the eyes in the memento. So let me ink this up, and I'm going to give you a little tip on the eyes, on stamping these eyes. So I'm inking that up, and when I stamp, I'm just going to do I'm going to position it where I want it. Let me bring something in so you can see it. And I'm not going to hold it there a long time. I'm just going to stamp it and bring it right back up. If you hold it there too long, the eyes get big and mushy and it's kind of spread out. So I'm stamping right up here at the top. And I did it real quick, as you can see. So let's bring in the snowman and we'll stamp his eyes. And then I'm going to show you a little trick for stamping the snowman's buttons. So I'm going to place the hat where I think I might want it to be. So when I stamp his eyes, I don't stamp them too high or too low. And again, I'm going to do a quick little stamp here. Just like that, okay? Now, I'm going to clean that stamp off. Make sure it's clean. And I'm going to stamp his buttons. But let me bring in a scarf. Let's see, he's going to have a green scarf. So I'm going to kind of lay this scarf down where it's going to go before I stamp, just to give me a little bit of an idea of where I want his buttons. And this little eye stamp, as you saw, has two on one stamp. I'm just going to ink up one side, and I'm going to go ahead and stamp a quick button, just like that. And because if I would have done the two stamp, it would have been too far apart, like his eyes are pretty far apart. So that's how you do that. Let's bring in a beak. A beak, a beak, a beak. I think there's two beaks in here. There's one beak for the penguin that's sliding down the hill. It's like a sideways beak. And then there's another one that's more of a triangle. And you can stamp his beak wherever you want. I was stamping it a little bit lower, and then I noticed that when I looked at other card samples, they were stamping it right up at the top there. So let's try that and see what it looks like. Perfect. I like that. It's so cute. Cute, cute, cute. Okay, we're going to have to cut a little snowman nose. And I am just going to take the teeniest, tiniest piece. That might be a little bit too tiny. Let me see. Let me start over here. It's just a real teeny tiny piece that you're cutting, and you're just cutting it on a little angle like that with a little point at the end, and that's going to be his nose. So let's glue these pieces together. So there's the white part of our penguin. Just put a little bit of glue on there. And it goes right in the center, just like that. Isn't he cute? And then for the snowman, I'm going to glue his scarf on. Since we're gluing these little teeny tiny pieces, if you get too much glue on it, you can take a silicone mat and kind of blot it and get rid of the excess glue. Now this little teeny tiny nose, I'm actually going to go back and get some of that excess glue that I just put on that silicone mat, because I only need a teeny bit of glue for that nose. And then for his hat, I'm just going to put a little bit of glue right here at the base. Put his hat on. And then his hat has a bow, and then I took a little piece of scrap of white and I just cut a little tiny strip, just like that, and I kind of laid it down on his hat. So I think I'll put a little bit of glue here on my silicone mat and just pick up a little bit more glue for that strip. Just like that. That glue is squirting out a little bit. Get rid of some of that excess glue. And then that little bow is going to go right there. Just like that. And his little hat. Just a little bit of glue. That silicone mat comes in handy. And just put his hat right there. And And then his two little feet. And you could stamp his feet right on there. I guess I got enough glue here I can use. And he needs a scarf. Okie doke. So now you can just put this together. So I glued my penguin, my snowman, and my trees. But let me tell you one more thing about this snowman. I took a little bit of balmy blue in a sponge dauber. And then I took my snowman and I kind of went right around the edges just to give him a little bit of color on the edges. So when he's sitting on this white background, he shows up a little bit more. It's real faint, it's real subtle, but it makes a little bit of a difference, so that's what I did. Just like that. Real simple. So we also have to stamp our sentiments. So the penguin is going to be glued about right there. So I glued the little characters and the trees, and then I popped up the sentiments. He's going there. And that little snowman friend is going to go right about there. And then just put a few trees on. And our last tree. And then we'll stamp our sentiment. So I have a strip here of white, and I'm going to bring in the red ink, and I'm going to stamp both sentiments to the coolest friend ever and season's greetings. And then we'll put those on, and then we'll go to the inside. So, to the coolest friend ever. And season's greetings. So like I said, that's about a 1/2 inch wide, and it fits perfectly. And we're just going to cut it down. And that's all I'm doing. Same thing with the season's greetings. Then I have a piece of black. So this is about 3/4 of an inch, and I'm just going to cut it down to fit right around that. So I can go ahead and glue this piece on. Just like that. And then this piece, we'll glue it down. And then we'll trim it down a little bit. And this card's almost done. I'm going to bring in some dimensionals. We'll put this up here. And then this one. Isn't that cute? I love it. So there's the front. What did I do on the inside here? Oh, I like that sentiment. So, also with the stamp set is the sentiment that says, be cool, be chill, and be merry. So I'm going to make sure I have this on here straight. So I'm just going to lay it down. And then pick it back up. And we're going to stamp on the inside. Be cool, be chill, be merry. And that's just going to get glued to the inside. And card number 1 is done. So what do you think? Do you like it? Aren't they cute? And again, that's a variation of this card that's in last year's Stampin' Up catalog. So I changed it up a little bit, and but that's where I got my inspiration. So you never know, but definitely look through those catalogs. Okay, so on to our next card. This one's so cute. This one here. So on this, I have a garden green card base, and it's 11 by 4 1/4, and it's scored at 5 1/2. And then I have a piece of white for the inside that is 4 by 5 1/4. Then I have for the front a piece of white that's 4 by 5 1/4, and a piece of garden green that's 4 by 5 1/4. And this one I ran through the embossing folder. Again, it's the same one, the Whimsical Woodland. And the thing we're going to do first is we're going to do a little bit of stamping. So let me bring this back in. And got 2 stamps here we're going to use. And we're going to stamp in the black. So I'm going to stamp that one, and I just made a boo-boo because this is what happened. This is my punch, and when I put the paper in, it's going to be upside down. So I should have punched it, I should have stamped it like right here, and I'm going to redo it. That way it fits in. So I need to kind of stamp him upside down. So let's do that again. So he is going to be stamped right there. Then I can punch him out. Before I punch him out, I'm going to stamp on him a little bit. So then I have a bigger piece to work with. So I am going to bring in, I think I'll stamp his feet in Mango Melody. And I'm going to stamp right on him. And then I'm going to punch him out. So I got that little foot stamp. Stamp there. You could use pumpkin pie if you want it to be a little bit brighter, but I think he looks cute like that. And then I'm going to bring in his beak stamp. Just like that. So he is pretty much done. We need to stamp his friend. So here's that stamp. So here's the stamps that I'm using. I used that one, and I used that one. Actually, I could have used, there's another stamp in here, right here. It's 2 feet at once, so I didn't have to do them singly. But I have him out for that single stamp out for another reason, and I'll show you that in a second. So let's go ahead and punch him out. So I'm just lining him up. So the last one we punched out in black cardstock and white cardstock. This one we stamped. He looks so cute. And then I'm going to bring in the other penguin who's having some fun sliding down the hill. And I'm going to use that single stamp in the, can't find it here, I just had it. It's right in front of my, oh, here it is. The mango ink. Let's bring that back in. So for that little 1 foot, I'm going to use for his little, like he's sliding down the hill and his 1 foot is behind him. Just like that. And when he's all on that hill, you'll see what I'm talking about. And then I'm going to bring in, there's one other little beak that's kind of sideways. It's a little triangle that's sideways, and I'm going to put that on here for his nose, for his beak, and then his hat, which I made it red this time. And I'm just going to stamp that right on there, just like that. We also need a balmy blue scarf. And we also need a tree. I already have all that done. Well, let me just see here. The tree. Bring it in. Yep. So I went ahead and, so this guy here, we stamped and we punched him out. This one, we're going to have to fussy cut. And again, we're going to have to fussy cut his scarf. So I stamped him all. So you're just going to punch or fussy cut him out, which I already have done. So here he is. And there's the scarf. I'm going to go ahead and put that scarf on this little guy before I lose it. And then I'm going to show you how I made that little hill. Okay, so there's that guy. There's our little tree, and there's our friend. So bring this piece in. We have the little hill stamp right there. And I'm going to stamp it in balmy blue. So let me show you how I did that. This comes together pretty quick right now. So I want to make sure that I have enough room at the bottom to stamp my sentiment. So I am going to go ahead and ink this up. And actually it's such a big stamp, I'm going to do it that way. And you can stamp this way, or you can stamp it this way. And I am going to stamp it near the bottom, just like that. Then I'm going to bring in this guy here and position him so I know where to stamp the next hill. So it's going to be right over his head, just like that. Then I have a tree, so I want to make sure when I stamp my trees that the next hill is above that. And I'm going to stamp it with the swoop going down so that this little guy here has a nice little hill to slide down. But I want it as low as possible because I want the background to show, and I'll show you what I mean in a second. Okay, I could have come up a little bit because I want to stamp some trees there, but I'm not going to worry about that. I think it's going to look cute. So now what I did was I took this piece and my paper snips and I trimmed all that top part off. And again, I let the white show. Okay, now let's put this together. So let's bring back in the front piece that we embossed, and this is going to be glued right on top. Now, in reality, what I should have done was I should have finished my stamping before I glued this down, because if I made a boo-boo, I could do it again, but too late now. Okay, so that's there, because the stamping is going to be cool, be chill, be merry. I'm just going to clean this off. And just red right at the bottom. It's so cute. I just love it. I hope you guys like it. Let me know. Right here at the bottom. Perfect. And then we're going to stamp some trees. And why is it that I, oh, here's my, I was going to say, why is it I can never find that tree stamp? But there it is. We're actually almost done. We just got to glue our little guys on, our little penguins. So he's going to be here. We're going to have a cutout up there. And he is going to be here. So cute. So I just stamped, and then I stamped off. And then I stamped up here, stamped off. Like that. And I think that's all I want. I don't want a whole bunch of trees out here. So let's put this together. What did I do on the inside? Might as well stamp all that too. We'll get to it when we get to the inside. Okay, so now, whoops, this piece is going to be glued on the front. There's just a little bit of a border. Looks really pretty with the green on the green. And then we're just going to glue our tree and our penguins on. And the front will be done. So I just put this tree up here just because it's stamped and it has that little bit of a white border from when we fussy cut it. And I think it stands out and it kind of takes up a nice little part of that space. So he's going to go right down here. He's so cute. And then this one's going to go down here. He can go wherever you want. Yeah, I'll put him right there. Okay, so for the inside, what did I do on the inside? Oh, I just did another swoop of the mountain. I think I'll stamp my, let's go ahead and put our blue mountain in, our blue snow ridge. And then season's greetings and a tree. Okay, the tree, there it is. That's so funny. The tree stamp keeps disappearing. So I'm going to put season's greeting with a tree. So I think I'm going to put this off to the side just a little. And then my tree, and then it'll be centered nicely inside that card. Just like that. Cute. Cute, cute. So I hope you love these cards as much as I do. I think they are so cute. We're just going to glue this on the inside. So you got the little tip about the snowman. You saw how you can stamp and then punch out a penguin, or just punch out the penguin with the black paper. So we got that card, and we've got this cute little cutout card. And I want to show you one more. This is also from that catalog. This was inspired by that catalog. It's real simple. It's just a piece of white, and I went ahead and I stamped, I cut the penguin out first. He's cut out, and I stamped his face and his bow and his feet. and I kind of put him down where I wanted him to be. And then I kind of lifted him up and I stamped the present. So I stamped that present, and then I stamped these presents, and I kind of laid them down one more time, and I looked where I needed that string to be stamped so it looks like it's coming out of his hand. And then I stamped that balloon, and look at that balloon, how cool it stamps with the little glare on it. And then I stamped happy birthday in the black. And inside, to the coolest friend ever. So what a cute little simple card to make. And again, I have all that information on my blog. So if you go to stampandshout.com, I'm going to have all that information down there. And if you like these projects and you want them delivered to your house for free, all you have to do is place an online order with me by this Friday evening, and you'll get these in the mail from me. That's a $25 minimum purchase. And then I will mail you these, and you have a really good head start on making some of your own penguin cards. But again, visit my blog. You'll have more information there. Please leave some comments. Let me know how you like these cards. Subscribe if you're not a subscriber, and click the notification bell. That way you'll be notified whenever I make new videos. And I think that's it. Thanks for being here. I really, really appreciate it. Don't be shy. Stamp and shout.